My next guest is Smokey Todd. He's from Austin, Texas,
Yeah,
Jiu-Jitsu master, spiritual guru, and
yeah.
all around good dude, father, and just a good dude. So I'd like to jump into a little bit about who you are and where you're from, kind of the background on Smokey.
Oh, I came from a Hispanic family, pretty tumultuous, a huge family, a lot of fighting, a lot of alcoholism, not very educated or kind of work. That's about it. Very
How
religious.
many how many brothers and sisters you got?
Well, my parents were 17 when they had me. So my dad came from 10 and my mom came from 5. And so I grew up in their houses because they were kids when having a kid. So I grew up with my grandmothers, all my uncles, my aunts. My grandmother had 5 sisters and each one of them had 10 kids. So like at Easter, there's like 300 of us together. They all lived in the same neighborhood, rough neighborhoods I grew up in. Lubbock, Texas is a predominantly Hispanic and Black neighborhood where a lot of fighting. They teach you how to fight. That's your main thing is they want to toughen you up. No sissies allowed, no expressing of emotion, suppress. We don't cry, suck it up. If they hit you, go hit them back. Kind of like everything that I don't stand for these days, everything I don't teach my kids, I'm always teaching about peace and love, letting things go. And my family is like, don't let them that go punch them in the mouth kind of thing. A lot of drinking, a lot of fights on the weekends growing up, seeing uncles get drunk and go at it. A lot of arguing with my parents, kind of, I don't know.
What takes you back?
Uh, Things that I don't believe in today. It's just real tumultuous at times.
Do you have a relationship with your family nowadays?
Yeah, I'm super tight with everybody, I've never held on to anger. I think through my spirituality and through my connection with God's source, I've always learned that just forgiveness, that God forgives, that life forgives. I feel like the 3 most powerful things in this universe are number 1 is love, number 2 is authenticity, and number 3 is forgiveness. I think holding in a lot of what I grew up with, I never realized how much pain that I suppressed on the inside because it was always like, suck it up. Don't worry about it. You can get through it. And that was one of the main reasons I found so much connection with Rhythmia when I went. I had done some DMT before where I levitated off the ground, I've seen the Matrix, like I've been one of a source. And so I went to Rhythmia thinking that I'm going to be flying in the air. And I didn't realize how much trauma I'd suppressed in my gut, throughout my nerves, my tissues. And man, I was able to release a lot of hurt and just things that are stored in the tissue, my heart, my soul, being able to reconnect with all of that. So I've transitioned my life. I think there's always that one person in every family that's not the black sheep per se, but he's the one that breaks the generational cycles. And I was chosen, I feel like, on this earth or coming down to this earth that I was going to be that one because, I don't drink like I grew up seeing drinking. I grew up with we had a wheat farm in our backyard. My dad just smoking weed and stuff. I grew up with seeing drugs, drug dealers in my family, gangs, them being involved in gangs. And, I think I was the one to break a lot of those generational cycles for my children to proceed forward in this life. And I feel like when I quit drinking and everything, it kind of like I was an example to the rest of the family that that's what our family gatherings shouldn't be about, things like that. So they're a lot more calm now. A lot of my family's transition, like they're just different now. I think when they see a light in you and a certain type of peace, they want that as well. You don't always have to say anything. They can just see it in your spirit and your light is walk. So
Absolutely. So how'd you get the name Smokey?
they call my dad Bear when he was a kid. So him and my mother have been together since they were 12. And he used to write her love letters, Julia plus Bear equals Smokey. And so that's how I got the name Smokey. So that's
That's
you know,
awesome. Smokey there.
I think 17-year-old parents in the 70s, it kind of like, kind of hip, rockerish, kind of like that Peter Frampton hippie type, vibe. got going on. My parents quit drinking like they did. They quit drugging. I think seeing a lot of my sobriety transition in life and a lot of my healing journey, because people see a different type of light in someone. Like I said, you don't always have to tell somebody, hey, this is better. They can just see it in a person and be like, hey, you can be infectious just by your energy, and
Right.
just to be like, I want that, what that guy has kind of. So
Yeah. You definitely have an aura about you, brother.
but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Let's jump back. You have a couple of boys. They're
Yes.
some badass jujitsu masters. Can you tell me a
Hey,
little bit about your boys and your family?
I love football. I love soccer. I love baseball. I did all the sports when I was a kid, wrestled, track. But what I wanted for my kids is something they could have for the rest of their life, a tool. They say 85% of kids that train jujitsu are more self-controlled, more disciplined. They have a tool in life to take with them. My older son was attacked at a public school. In the middle class, some guy just started hitting him for no reason. Or my son was able to submit him in seconds. If he
Oh,
was choked out, he could have messed him up worse, but he refrained. He held control and he held that space. And this kid was a bully. Like he'd walk by and the kids slap him on the head and be like, "Hey, pussy," and, like, he's always starting fights with everybody, and that day, he picked on my son, and my son calmed the kid down, submitting him, and he didn't hurt him. He was able to self-control. I just feel like they can take that as a tool. I wanted them to have a healthy outlet in life. I feel like jujitsu, when you're doing the sport, you're in a present moment. 95% of us walk around unconscious and not present in life, you know? And there, everything you forget about, you're
yeah.
present when you train. It's like you learn how to be comfortable and uncomfortable. Somebody's trying to choke you or break your arm. You're staying in a calm manner. You're problem solving in a very breath work type, meditative type presence. And I think it transitions a lot in life, like when something like gets sticky with work or a marriage or relationships, just breathe through it. Don't react so quickly. And I'm a reactor. I grew up like I said, if they push you, just punch them. No talking, like you just fight, and I grew up with seeing my parents fight, so I try to take a lot of these tools in jujitsu and breathe through it and think about it before I react to it. And, I want my kids to have that same calmness and that confidence. There's so many guys in jujitsu, man, they're so athletic, they're so dangerous, but man, they're so nice. You walk
Yeah.
around, they're hugging you, they're like very humble. It's like there's some of the most humble guys I've ever met in my life. I mean, you have your types. There's always a balance in life, right? Where there's good, there's bad, where there's light, there's dark. There's always a balance in life. But the majority in the community that brings in with families and kids, such just neat, just really neat kids and young men, young adults. It's a healthy atmosphere. They all eat healthy, they work out, they train. And the funny thing is, a lot of the guys that I train with, they've quit these corporate jobs making like 100,000. Now they're like waiting tables part time just so they can train jujitsu because it makes them happy. It's not even about money. Life's not about money with them. It's about what they love. And man, that's super admirable to me. They don't make hardly anything. They have roommates, they live very simple lives, but they're just training. And that's what makes them happy. And I think there's so many positives like that. I could go on and on about the sport and all the positives that it has in it, especially with my kids, just having that, knowing that I can trust them to be out and they're going to be okay because they know how to take care of themselves as well. And I like the fact that they're disciplined, they're self controlled. I see a lot of kids that, at football games or whatever, they're just throwing tantrums. And I'm like, wow. I was like, I don't judge, that's the journey. I try not to ever judge. And I don't think my kid is better or anything, but I'm just very grateful that I've chosen this path for me.
That's
So,
awesome, man. So a little bit about your healing journey. You did go down. We met
yeah.
in Costa Rica, Rhythmia Life Advancement Center. You had been there once before, as had I, and then we met up down there. And tell me, how did you learn about Rhythmia and start getting on that path?
So a great friend of mine, her sister, they're two beautiful debutante type sisters, almost fraternal twins. One of them was going to yoga and open violin mic night. She was a artist, and when she was putting her gym bag in her trunk of her car, a drunk driver came around the corner and smashed her from behind and killed her.
Oh my God.
So her sister, which is a great friend of mine, she lost it mentally. It's real hard for her to take. She never really been through anything tumultuous. She had an amazing father, very successful. Like she's never had any real like obstacles in life, I feel like. And that was probably her first big obstacle. And she took it super hard, went through several therapists, went through shrinks, doctors, medicines. Nothing was giving her peace. And she went to Rhythmia. And she stayed there, I think, for 3 weeks. She's one of the few that's ever done something like that. Her husband and she, after that, they got a divorce, and then he went to Rhythmia. And he's always known how spiritual I am. And he was like, man, Smokey, he's like, I'm telling you something, you've got to go to this place. And it's right up your alley. He's like, I know you'll love it. I was very blessed. I signed up for a scholarship and I got picked out of a few 100,000 people or whatever.
Wow.
And I was able to go. I think it was just like God's gift to me that I was meant for this path. And when I went, like I said, I thought I was going to be like flying in the air or something. And like I went through seeing my family history of Native Americans, releasing a lot of their pain and ethereal, a lot of healing with my ex-wife. I forgave her, a lot of forgiveness. My father, my first night, the Vishnu, the Hindu god, came up to me. He was like all four arms, just like, and he was showing us how we're all connected in this earth. But what I learned was everything in this world is perfectly imperfect.
Mhm.
And the most powerful thing in this world is love. There's no winners in war. Medusa came to me.
Wow.
She came to me, and what I learned with her in my ceremonies was that she'd never been loved right. And that was why she was mean. That there's no bad people in this world. Um, some people just haven't been loved or shown the proper way to live. It's not necessarily that they're bad. They've just been tarnished through life's programs and programming. But everybody has this pure, beautiful heart. And I was able to see the pureness of everybody, everything, even bad people who we think were bad.
Mhm.
I was able to see how pure humans are in this world and how beautiful the heart is. I saw the Matrix. I was taken in a UFO.
Yeah,
Um,
buddy. I got a UFO tattoo here for from my
yeah,
journey.
I was in it. They were taking me through the universe and they were showing me how we're all connected and how they take information from us. Everybody's journey is different. I didn't know what you really expect. I kind of go in with the intention of just keeping an open mind, open heart more than anything. A lot of the way I'm able to connect so deeply within the medicine is because I go into my heart space. And when you can go into your heart space, that's where the human portal is. If you ever unravel a heart, it's not a pump, it's more like a vortex. But to really go into your heart space and get out of your head, and I think that's just what brings you presence in life in general, is just staying out of your head. We wake up, 95% of us, like I said, we walk around unconscious without presence in life. You know, we wake up, we're like, oh, we got to check our social media, we got to check our emails, we got to get to work, we got to make breakfast for the kids or whatever, the workout. And what we become is a kind of materialistic society.
Yeah.
And when we're really vibration, we're energy. And when you start tapping in that heart and raising your vibrational frequency, then you just get more presence in life. I feel like you get more downloads, you get more messages from the divine with source. I feel like you can really tap into your day and be like, hey, don't go this way, go that way. We need you to go this way.
Yep.
So, just really trying to be in your heart space. If I could get there every year, twice a year, it's like a tune up in a car, like an oil change for my body, for my mind, for my heart, my soul. I would definitely get there, I would recommend it to anybody, everybody in my family, anybody I've ever met to really go find the truth within because I feel like we've been so programmed in life through what we were taught and what our parents were taught and what they were taught. But once you get to this place, it wipes all that programming out. It takes you into the truth. And the truth is really what's out there. You get into your heart, you learn how to forgive, but you just see the pureness and love and everything in life. And if you can just walk around in that kind of presence or just love all the time, man, it's just like, it's just amazing feeling. Right? I can't describe how beautiful it is. So
It's an incredible place. I've been down there a couple times. And
yeah, it's magical. Like I said, if I could get there every year, twice a year, easy. And when I talk to guests, they're like, really? They're like surprised, like, why? I was like, man, it's just like a reset. Several people that told me, like, I see what you're talking about now.
mm,
I see the gift that it gives you. It's not for everybody. It's a grind, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of mental, getting out of the head and just really trusting like, hey, this is right for my art, it's right for my soul. But I feel like
yeah,
everybody's soul, inner God that we have within us, if we're there, it's called us to be there for a reason, you know? So
yeah, it's a very interesting experience because you saw Medusa and, you know, these Hindu gods and, I'm seeing Jesus and
uh,
God, but it's very interesting because my perspective kinda on it is that all of those things are real, you know? It
right.
and a lot of people choose this or choose that, and, there it's so big and there's so much going on that we can't even wrap our heads around, and,
Yeah.
everybody's on this spiritual path, and we're all on a different path, but we're all sharing the same journey together. It's an incredible thing.
It's infinite. I saw Thoth, the Egyptian god, the last time. You were sitting next to me in our ceremony, so I literally transitioned into these spirit animals. When I went so deep, I was in nirvana, and the shamans were telling me, "Come back, brother, come back." Because they were trying to quiet me down, because
Yeah.
I was turning into these spirit animals. I turned into a snake, which was the medicine. Then I turned into the bird, where I was Thoth and part of Thoth and the Egyptian god. And then that's when I turned into the lion, and you thought I was going to eat you. You
Yeah,
know,
bro, I'm not gonna lie, you were next to me, sounded like a snake there for a while, and I was like,
and,
I might need to get out of here."
where I was just in no thought. And when you can get a no thought in life, that's when you experience true bliss. That's when you're one with everything. I love my kids more than anything in this world, but I could have left everything and stayed
Yeah.
there because I was one with everything, one with earth, one with the universe. It's one of the most profound feelings and love experiences and this ultimate presence of just pure love and bliss like that you can never ever imagine. I think everybody's path, it's not a choice of what you're gonna get out of the medicine, it's what you need. It's gonna give you what you need, it's what you need to see. They were showing me that I was multidimensional, I'm an ascended master from the universe, and to really accept these gifts that I've been given in life. I have clairvoyancy, I've got premonitions, and just to really embrace a lot of the gifts that I have instead of being embarrassed about it or not talking about it, like really share with people these experiences. I feel like your experiences you can share with people and it can broaden their mind and their horizon with life. Not everybody's they're gonna think you're fucking crazy. Like,
Absolutely. Every
everyone's
every
like,
time I talk about it to anybody, I'm like, I have to preface it with like, okay, I'm not schizophrenic, but here's what happened. And unless you've been there, you just can't understand. But I agree with you. It's such a magical healing place and highly recommend it to anybody.
that's what I love more than anything. More than anything, when you go down there, there's no judgment.
Yep.
You can talk to anybody about if you've been molested or raped or, if you did this or that, or if you've seen this, and people don't look at you like you're fucking nuts, or they don't
Yeah.
like have this judgment on you, like, oh, poor him or them. They're just like, It's all about love. I hugged you. I hugged some of these other guys without our shirts after throwing up and shitting all night and throwing up, like sweaty. I hugged you guys tighter than my father's ever held me. You guys held me like tighter than my own father's ever held me in like 50 years, you know? I've
Yeah.
never been loved like that. And that place is just filled with so much love, non-judgment. And I feel like, that was a lot of what Christ really came down here for. He was coming down here he was just a teacher. He was just sharing his experiences and what he thought humankind and mankind should be is just love, no judgment. And I feel like that place has it there, and it's all about healing and helping and just kind of being there for everybody. And the people that work there, wow. I mean, give it, they're picking up our throw up or snot rags. It's like a parent with the child and the comfort they give you and the peace they give you. I mean, I just can go on and on about how beautiful and magical this place is. I mean, it's probably by far one of my top magical place ever in my life. If I could go work there, I'd be there. If I didn't have my kids, I'd leave everything right now and go work there. I don't know. It's just such a beautiful place. I just have so much affinity for it. I'm just drawn to it now. That's all I think about
Yeah.
almost every day is like, I try to go to where I was during my spiritual journeys because it brought me so much peace and love. So when I do my meditations, I try to go back into that meditation where I was transforming or what I was seeing. I try to be one with everything without being on the plant medicine.
Yeah.
The plant medicine definitely takes you there, but I try to remember that into my heart and try to actually go to that place. And yeah, it's such a beautiful place. Love it.
Do you
Amazing.
practice breath work?
Breath work, a lot of gratitude. Meditation's different forms. Like I pray a lot. I just start talking to my gods, my angels. I get into my heart space. I try to really get out of the head and center my presence in my heart. I picture myself yoga style in a Merkle ball, which everybody hasn't, and just go into the heart. And the breath work, definitely. Like I don't wake up like this. I wake up with, I've got bills, I've got the kids, like they
Yeah.
don't listen. I've got to redirect 30 times like herding cats. I've got to do my breath work. Life's a balance where there's good, there's bad. It's a emotional roller coaster at times, but it's just learning how to be present with it and embrace it, love the good and the bad because the bad's not always bad.
Yeah.
Ended up getting Bell's palsy, so I wasn't able to go last year on this trip. I was supposed to go last year on this trip, and I got Bell's palsy 5 days before I left.
What is
Anyway,
that?
it's where your face is half paralyzed. I still have a little bit. Like my whole face was sunk like that. I looked like that for like 6 months. Like
Oh my gosh.
my whole face and my eyes. I couldn't sleep. I had to sleep with my hand over my face, right? I couldn't work, being outside the bright light, like killed my eyes. And I just would be like, hey, there's a reason for this. This is a test in my life. It's going to give me testimony. All my friends are like, man, you're keeping so positive with me. Cause I went from like looking like normal to just like being deformed. I couldn't eat. I couldn't talk.
Oh my gosh.
On my way back home, I was in the airport and I see this woman in the airport. And the first words that came out of my mouth were, how come I can't meet someone like that in Austin, Texas? I've been single for 9 years. I haven't dated anybody. I've been in full dad mode. Everybody's like, hey, how come you haven't gone out? Learn them, but it's just not me. Anyway, long story short, I started talking to this girl in the line and I was like, how long have you been here? She's like, 30 days. And I was like, that's amazing. She's like, yeah, a friend of mine and I swapped houses. She goes, how about you? I go, 7. She goes, why were you here? And I was like, I was there doing ayahuasca ceremony. She was like, were you at Rhythmia? I go, yeah. She's like, I've heard about this place. It's amazing. I was like, yes, it's the only licensed medical facility in the world. It's one of the largest medical facility ayahuasca centers in the world. I go, where are you headed back to? And she's like, Austin, Texas. I was like, I'm from Austin, Texas. I was like, that's where I'm going. I was like, maybe we can talk about it. Anyway, long story short, we ended up meeting in the airport and I saw your brother-in-law sitting at my gate. He could have been at any other restaurant, but he was sitting right in front of my gate. Or she ends up walking by and I go, "Excuse me, ma'am." I'm like, "Do you have a quick second?" She's like, "Sure." I was like, "I'd like you to hear my roommate, so I bunked with Rhythmia." I was like, "He didn't like me when he first met me. He thought I was some crazy." So he tells her his testimony. She's like, "Wow." And anyway, she goes back in with her kids and stuff, and he's got to leave. He's going to actually meet you down the way because y'all's flights are about to leave. And
Yeah.
I see her and her kids leave, and I'm like, "Man, I can't get this woman out of my head." And I'm sitting in this restaurant by myself, and they leave, and she comes up to me and she's like, "Excuse me." And I look up and look behind me. And she's like, "Do you mind if I join you?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So we end up talking and we had like a 2 hour layover. I end up asking her, I'm like, "Hey, where are you originally from?" And she looks down and she looks me right in the eyes. And that's when I feel like our souls connected. She goes, "Lubbock, Texas." I was like, "I'm from Lubbock, Texas."
Oh,
I go, "What high school did you go to?" She goes, "Coronado." I was like, "I went to Coronado." I end up giving her a hug and kiss. We have like the same cosmetology teacher. She's been divorced 6 years.
I got the chills.
Anyway, when I got my Bill's palsy, I called a psychic medium channel to find out how come this has happened to someone like me because I meditate, practice spirituality, I practice martial arts, I eat super clean, I eat healthy, I take care of myself. Like, how does this happen to me? I called this lady. She totally ignores my question. She goes, "Are you in a relationship?" I go, "No." She was like, "I see you getting married in the next year to 2 years." I go, "Man," I was like, "There's no one in my realm." I was like, "I've been single for 9 years." Like, actually, there's no one even in the fucking parking lot. I was like, my face is messed up. I'm like, I don't want to hear about a woman. I want to hear about my Bell's palsy. And when Ashley and I were talking in the plane, I mean, we're literally looking at each other for 3 hours like this. We're both holding our necks. And I go, "Hey, Ash, let me be really honest with you." I go, "The first words that came out of my mouth when I saw you is, how come I can't be someone like that in Austin, Texas?" I go, second thing, I was like, I call this psychic medium channel and I started telling her this story, all she could talk about this relationship. I was like, "I know you're that girl."
Well,
Right. I called her 6 months later because she never answered my original question. My face is still like paralyzed and still have no motor function in it. She was like, "I'm just trying to process all this," because she just found out we're in the same city, we're from the same hometown, we're same cosmetology school, same high school. Like all that we have led these parallel lives, but at different moments in time. And she goes, "Smokey, I know about facial trauma." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And she starts telling me about where she was in college. She flipped the Vespa in Cozumel and hit her face first and had to have reconstructive surgery and got all her teeth knocked out. I was like, "You knocked out all your teeth?" And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Do you have a bridge on your mouth?" She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "So do I." In seventh grade, I knocked out all my teeth. And anyway, like they're talking like the last person she'd ever slept with, this guy's name was Eric. The last person that I'd ever slept with, her name was Erica. I just met her in the Costa Rica Liberia airport. But the whole point of my story was, and I'm still in love. We're still seeing each other. The relationship's amazing. But, I went through this test in life, what I thought was one of my hardest tests. I mean, my face is completely deformed. I couldn't work. I was like, frozen open, like, I would have to walk around like this, I'd have to sleep like this. My kids were like, "Hey, Papa, look at the bright side and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, what?" And they're like, "For Halloween, you can just paint your face like Two-Face and Two-Face." Yeah, what? I started
saving money.
laughing, but I'm laughing like this, and they're like, "Does he not like that joke?" We can't really tell. You're kinda smiling, you're kinda mad at the same time, but I laughed with them and, I told them, I'm like, "The reason why I'm laughing with you is because life's not all roses all the time. And it's how you overcome these tests that we're given, because they give you testimony in life, and I feel like a lot of these tests that we were given in life through abuse or through whatever anybody's ever gone through, they've given us testimony to help guide other people. I think just life in general, if we can look at it, not that it's these bad situations, it's just kind of redirecting us where we need to go, where the universe needs to take us. But yeah, I mean, just so many blessings in life. My friends are like, "Man, I would have flipped the fuck out." Like,
That's an incredible story about
uh,
meeting her in the
yeah,
airport.
it's one of the most beautiful stories. Like, I mean, there's so much more to tell. The universe has connected us even more. I just feel like I thought the Bell's palsy, that's all I kept saying is, "This is gonna give me testimony." And when I was going through it, the person that helped me the most was a lady who owns a yoga studio next to me. And I saw her at the grocery store because we parked next to each other. My salon or yoga. And so we parked next to each other. And I saw him in the parking lot one day. And I have these shades on, right? I walked around with my shades all the time because I just looked like to be honest, I was really kind of embarrassed the way I looked, but I still had to go on about life. And she was like, I hadn't seen you in a while. I was like, I got Bell's palsy. She's like, oh my gosh. She was like, I had Bell's palsy. I was like, no way. Anyway, through telling me her story, she asked me if I did yoga. And I was like, yeah, I do it every day. I practice it every day. And she was like, have you done hot yoga? And I was like, no, I haven't tried that. I tried acupuncture. I tried hyperbarics. I tried, you know, EPAT, facial stimulation, you name it. Nothing was helping my Bell's palsy. And she starts telling me about her journey. And because of her Bell's palsy, she started doing hot yoga, and now she owns a yoga studio. And she has 2 boys like I do, and everything that she would do every morning, I was like, "I do that." She was one of my biggest admirations going like, "I know something positive. I'm gonna help somebody or something good's gonna happen out of this." Just like that, I feel like a lot of our spiritual journeys, like I said, going through Rhythmia, going back and helping people, coming back to civilization and kind of explaining our stories, what we've been through, the healing process it's giving us. Just like my friend that was healed with their sister, I was able to go there and be healed in so many different ways as well.
I love it. So
Exactly.
obviously you're a handsome dude. Your face is all straightened out. How did
No, I still have a little bit left over. I'm still like healing a year and a half later. Like, you see how that eye closes when I try to still don't have all my malfunction. I can't smile all the way completely yet. It's almost there. But every day I'm like, I just tell myself I'm healed. I'm 1000% healed. God's light's healing me. I just tell myself I'm healed. I'm healed every week. And I can feel like these little connections back in the nerves coming back still. But man, it was traumatic. Like I do hair for a living. So
yeah.
I get a lot of my clients, I'll see them out on the street and I'll be like, hey, I'll see a girl playing with their hair or something. I'm like, hey, I do hair for a living. Come see me here.
Yeah.
And man, I was having to get up the guts because I do hair for this. Come see me. And, I take like a deep breath and go up to him. I'm like, I might have to learn how to live life like this for the rest of my life and be comfortable with myself. And it was just really, I'm so grateful to be where I am right now, health wise. Like even though I'm not 100% ill, I'd say I'm like 97, 98% ill. But I was having to relearn how to live life all over again. I mean, it was hard, man. I cried a lot. I was just like, dude, why is God? Why me? I was like, why this test? I just kept thinking that I was gonna have to help somebody else out. But I think people see my positivity and perseverance. And then like I honestly know it's the majority of it was to meet that girl. Because there's nothing that would have stopped me from going on my ayahuasca trip the year before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that would have stopped me, and that stopped me. I got it literally 5 days before I went, and
Wow.
it got postponed to the next year. And she and I meeting at the airport, we literally like crossed like simultaneously. If my driver would have got there 5 minutes late, or if I would have gone to pee like I wanted to before I went in the line, I was like, something. When you come off of this rhythmia high, you're like getting these intuitive messages.
Yep.
And they were just telling me like, "Hey, just go get in line, don't go pee yet." Even when I saw her, I was like, they were like, "She's just here with their kid," and she has 2 kids. Exactly everything that psychic said. It was like I was getting like all these intuitive messages because you're just vibrating so high off like,
Yep.
all this breath work you've been doing, all this meditation, the clean eating, like, the ayahuasca, the medicine's still in you. So like just running through your veins. So I'm getting all these intuitive messages. And I honestly know that I know the majority of it was to meet her. I'd always ask God to bring me somebody, that loves me, that I'm connected with, that can understand me. Our first 3 hours on the plane, I'm telling her like, so since I've been a kid, I've been abducted by aliens. And I was always embarrassed to say that, but like being able to go to Rhythmia, I could talk about like, say, I've been abducted by aliens since I was a kid. I used to call them the clay people because they were great, so they look like clay to me. And I'd be like, the clay people are here for me again. The clay people are here. And it was the grays really.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what I loved about Rhythmia is I can share my journey in life and not be judged for it or looked at like I need to be committed or something.
What do you think that is? Because I know a lot of people, have had experiences with being abducted, or some people just have this spiritual intuition. I don't think it's personally, I don't think it's beings coming from another planet, you know, down to Earth and grabbing you. I think it's an interdimensional spiritual.
Well, when you leave your vessel, you go into the ethereal, your subconscious levels, and I think I would get taken at night. And through talking with psychics and mediums, they said they would just get information from me. It was probably like last year. I went pretty deep in my sleep, and they took me again. And when I was with them, it was two women, and they were looking at me. We could telekinesis. We could talk to each other without words. I was like, "How do you guys get amongst us?" And it was just two women, and they both looked at each other and they started smiling and they grabbed their mouth and they opened it up and this like reptilian lady came out. She was like, or she froze. Oh man, y'all are hiding under like these human skins. And they were just like, I was like, that's how you guys walk amongst us.
They're walking amongst us, man.
Yeah. So, when I can talk about like, I talked to even my best friend and he's like, bro, you've done too many mushrooms. You've done too much time. I'm like, no, bro, I'm serious. This happens to me. I was like, and, meeting Ashley, this girl that I met, she's been really embracive of who I am. I told my mom, I was like, I even told her about the aliens I see. She's like, Smokey, you told her that. I was like, well, that's not.
I mean, it's not an opener usually.
No, it's not. I was like talking to her about this in the first 3 hours I met her, so
That's awesome.
I was telling her she's the one. I was telling her, I was like, you're this girl I'm supposed to meet. She's like, I'm just trying to process all this. She's like, but I think I was being my true authentic self,
Yeah.
and you can either take me that way or you can, and that's when somebody really loves you is because you don't have to be somebody you're not, and I don't have to pretend I'm somebody I'm not, and that's when, that's what life's about is living in truth, because when you live in truth, everything goes exactly the way it's aligned, you know? And when you try to manipulate things or convolute things because your head's telling you to convolute or, hey, don't, then it's not authenticity. And like I said, it's love, authenticity, and forgiveness. My three things that I instill in my kids. I'm very blessed. I'm very thankful, I think, since I met her and since I came back the second time around from Rhythmia. Prayer and gratitude, minimum an hour a day, 3 or 4
Wow.
in the I'm waking up, I make the time for it. If I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll just go meditate. I'll drink a protein shake and go meditate for an hour. I make the time to give myself that because I feel like it's normal people. It's like work out. We work to pay for these material things. We work out because we're just worried about the outside of things and time. We're always stressing about time that we don't have this time or that time. And what I do is I make time to really connect with them because I feel like there's where God truly is. It's not some bearded white guy in the sky or anything like that. God's you, God's me, God's the earth, God's everything, God's right here in your heart. The universe is, and connecting there can really give you a sense of peace and light. I live very modestly, very simple, but I'm happy, because I'm always staying in here, and just life's
That's the key,
great,
man.
just being simple, staying right here in your heart, just live in your heart space, just stay there. And I think Rhythmia teaches you a lot about that is connecting with your soul, your heart, it's all about the heart, breath work, the body within, the soul within. So, but
All right, man. Smokey, you got anything else you want to share with anybody?
man, I love you all. You guys, many blessings. If you can find your way to Rhythmia or in Costa Rica, I highly recommend it. It's not easy. But like I said, these tests give you testimony in life, and just don't have any regrets in life. Really try to stay with presence in your heart and always be loving and kind and no judgment and be simple, and really try to connect with the God within. Make that time in the morning to find meditation so you can find presence in life and,
Absolutely.
teach your kids that stuff. Really, if you have kids, like I have a meditating yoga, aligning the chakras. Every morning I make them look at themselves in the mirror and say, I love you, Tobias Todd. I love you, Tristan Todd. I make them say 10 things they're grateful for. And I make them say 10 things that are great about them. Like, I am love, I'm kind, I'm gentle. And you should self talk yourself the same way. Talk to your whole body the way, say, I'm kind, I'm love. I do the same thing. I look at myself in the mirror and like, I love you, Smokey Todd. I love you. I am kind. I am God's light. I'm Christ light. I'm Christ consciousness. I'm Christ thoughts. And I tell my body how grateful I am, my home, my car, because everything's energy, you know?
Gratitude, man.
Yeah, gratitude, bro, and stuff. But I love you, man. Thanks for having me on. Give me
I
a
love
follow.
you too, man. I appreciate you so
Yeah,
much. And hopefully we can make another journey together down there in Rhythmia and meet up.
yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to get in there the next year or two, like the same time
Absolutely.
last month of July.
Yeah.
So
Let's do it, man.
hopefully
All
late to
right.
yeah.
Smokey, I love you, buddy.
Love you too,
Thanks
man.
for joining me.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Many blessings.